Do you want to lose your fight before you even stepped into the ring? Well, you've come to the right place, because in this video I'm going to be talking about 3 common fight week mistakes that I see being made throughout the fight world, from beginners going into their first fights to professionals fighting for world titles. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Now this first one comes from a place of good intentions, and really I think it's just a bit of a coping mechanism for people trying to deal with pre-fight anxiety, and it's not taking enough rest. I see fighters just days before the fight smashing round upon round on pads, or running every day kilometers on kilometers in way too high a heart rate zone. And in the end of the day, unless it's a super last minute fight, which is a rare occasion, you've had weeks or even months to prepare for this fight. Trust in the work that you've already done. Realistically, you're not going to get any fitter, you're not going to get any stronger, and so all you want to do is stay sharp. Keep that high intensity. I'm not saying don't work. I'm saying get your heart rate up. Get the hands, get the legs moving, get the footwork working. But just for small bursts. Still high intensity, but extremely low volume. As I've already said, you've already done the hard work. You're not going to get any fitter. You're not going to get any stronger. If anything, all you're going to do is tire yourself out and put yourself in a worse position to fight. So let your body rest, let your body recover, and put yourself in the best position to perform on the weekend. Trust in yourself and trust in the hard work that you've already done. This second mistake is absolutely rife across all combat sports, and it's cutting weight like an idiot. Whether it's employing silly methods like running in a sweatsuit for days and days before their fight, or whether it's not being diligent and disciplined enough and leaving too much weight to cut last minute, and so having to cut 5-8 kilos in the sauna, having to be in extreme calorie deficits, or just being lazy and not doing the research. Cutting weight incorrectly or refueling incorrectly can absolutely destroy you before you even get into the ring, and can also just be dangerous. My best advice is to be diligent and do the research, but probably even better is, if you can afford it, hire a nutritionist. Even if it's just for a one-off consultation, or if it's just for your first couple fights, learn your own body and learn about cutting weight. It's a huge aspect of all fight sports, whether you like it or not. Unfortunately, and a lot of fighters don't like it, but as good as we have to be at boxing, clinching, etc., we also need to be good at making weight. And that means making weight successfully, making weight safely for longevity of career, but also making weight effectively so that we can perform and refuel and perform well in the ring. This third mistake is extremely common with people with less experience in the sport. And again, I think it's just a way of dealing with nerves, but it's over warming up before their fight. I'm talking directly before the fight. Sometimes you'll see someone who's fight number 7, 8 on the card. The show hasn't even started, and they're backstage smashing pads. They're backstage shadowboxing for hours, or even sparring. Yes, you need to warm up, but there's no point warming up 2 hours before you get in the ring. There's no point warming up for 2 hours. You're going to be exhausted before you even fight. In Thailand, it's extremely common to see fighters just do 5 to 10 minutes of light shadow, move around, feel good, feel sharp before getting into the ring. However, I do think you can go too far with this, and this may be part of the reason why Thai fighters start slower and are the intent to be caught out in one championship. So I personally like to sit somewhere in the middle. I'll do 5 to 10 minutes of hard shadow boxing to get my heart rate up. Really try and get my heart rate up. I'll do a bit of mobility work, maybe a few more minutes of light shadow just to feel good, nice, move around, a lot of footwork, and then I'm going to sit down and rest. Before I fight, at least 10-15 minutes. I don't really want to be moving around. I just want to relax. I want to breathe, get oxygen into my blood, and be in the most relaxed and best place possible, both physically and mentally, to fight and perform. So those are the 3 most common fight week mistakes I see people making throughout this sport. Not resting enough, cutting weight like an idiot, and over warming up. However, I want to make it really clear that this is extremely individual and personal, not just to the fighter, but to the actual fight and fight camp. For example, my fight weeks have sometimes looked completely different depending on whether I've had a 2-month fight camp, a 2-week fight camp, if I've just, come back to back off 3 fight camps in a row going into a 4th, or I've just come back from injury, whether this fight's important to me, it's for a title and I want to perform, or whether this is just for more experience. Each camp is different and each fighter is different. So what's good for one person isn't necessarily good for another person. And what's good for one person at one point in their career with X amount of experience is not necessarily the case later on. The key is to constantly be learning, constantly adapting, and working out what is right for you. So if you've made it this far in the video, I hope you've enjoyed it, even just a little bit. And I'd really appreciate any support, if that's a like, follow, or drop a comment. And let me know what other sort of areas you want me to cover, information. If you agree with what I'm saying, if you disagree, drop it in the comments. And see you next time.